episode, I guess, of Q&A with Coach Rebecca. I'm Rebecca Smith. I'm a high performance coach. I specialize in helping athletes age 8 to 18 become the best possible version of themselves under pressure and under fear and unlock all the good stuff that comes with sport participation. And today I have a couple of really good questions that I'm excited to dive into. But before I do, I want to let you guys know, if you're on my email list, you already know this, but today I officially opened the doors to the brand new Perform Happy community. I know you guys have heard me talk a lot about this. It's kind of like my little passion project where I take all of my techniques and tactics that I've basically figured out through research, through reading other people's research and through doing my own research, working with thousands of athletes. I figured out what works. I figured out how to get people out of mental blocks and fear. I figured out how to help build confidence. And I figured out how to help kids unlock what's called a flow experience. And I've put all of my research basically into these really in-depth courses, but that are easily digestible and fun so kids can get through them, learn all the techniques that I teach without having to sit with me one-on-one and do it. So it's a lot more flexible. You can do it on the go, you can do it in the car. And I've also put together some really fun challenges about building confidence and overcoming fear. There are downloadables. So coaches, this is a really great little system for you guys to tap into too, because you can start doing my techniques with your kids. And this is something I wish I had when I was a kid. I wish I had it when I was a coach. So I created it. And now I just opened the doors today. We're taking 30 new members. We are only taking 30 because I want it to be a really high quality experience where I can be actually in there interacting with you, answering your questions, guiding you through all the good stuff. And I'm starting a new program called Mental Toughness Boot Camp within the community next week. And that's going to be a 4-week super challenge where we can kind of like finish out the summer strong, get you ready for fall. So if you haven't already joined us and you've been on the fence about wanting to join the community, this is the week to do it. The doors close on Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern. I'll do a quick Q&A near the end of the week on here. So if you guys have questions, you can ask them here, but you can also ask me. I'll kind of let you guys know when near the end of the week I'm going to do it if we have enough spots left. If we don't have any spots, then I probably won't do it. Okay, that being said, I'm going to jump into the first question that I got from a member of the Perform Happy community. And here it is. She asks, is it appropriate to reward your child for accomplishments? If so, when? It's hard to find the right balance between bribery, and she says in parentheses, I'm a little ashamed to admit, but trust me, I have tried and it has worked, and reward for getting new skills and doing well at competitions. We set goals and set small rewards like ice cream or a fun outing, but I don't want her to feel as if only her performance will get her these opportunities. Yet dangling the carrot does work sometimes. I love this question. And this honestly got me a little bit like, okay, because I have a 2-year-old and we are potty training, and I've heard people are like, just give him a little screen time, give him an M&M, it'll make it happen. And I'm like, I tend to be pretty anti-rewards just based on my own psychology training. But there's this part of me that's like, but it probably works, when we've had to do it, it works in the moment. But it takes me back to something that somebody told me right when I was pregnant, or when I was reading all the about to be a mom stuff. They said there is no easy way. There is no easy way. You'll only have to be refixing it later on. And so I keep that in my mind. I'm like, just say no to the M&Ms. Like, just sit in the bathroom and it's gonna happen. But so here's my question. Here's my answer. I went through, all of my different research that I'd done in grad school around this topic because it is so controversial, because we're in this society that really encourages rewards. We are, capitalist, and you get what you want and you can live your dreams and you can have the big house and you can have all the money and you can have the fame and you can get your scholarship. And it's like, we are really just systematically already conditioned to be working toward rewards all the time, promotions and likes on Facebook. We're always wanting some kind of good job, oh look at you, you're doing great. So we as Americans, humans, we like that stuff and it makes us tick. And to be honest, I've actually added a little bit of that to the community because I know that it works, and because I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. And I went back and forth, was like, do I give points? Do I give gold stars? Or do I just allow them to, enjoy it and love it? And I went back and forth. So here's kind of my song and dance on this question. Rewards work in the short term. They do. They motivate us. And sometimes when you're afraid or you're stuck, you need something to like push you over the edge. So for example, I work with a ton of kids on mental blocks and fear. And most of these kids are the type of kid who they show up at a competition and for some reason they can kind of like force themselves to do the skill they haven't done in a month. They do it, they get it over with, they go back to the gym and they never do it again. So that reward of, not looking bad, maybe a medal, maybe their parents offered to like get them an iPad, or, I've heard some pretty crazy things. No offense if that's what you're doing. But so yeah, it worked in that one instance, but it did not have anything to do with the long-term overcoming of that fear at all. And you guys, if you've heard any of my talks on fear, like if you just shove the kid out and tell them to do it, they might be able to do it. But that doesn't mean anything for the future of them being able to do the skill. So it doesn't build anything lasting. So yes, rewards work in the short term, but they actually have some consequences that are important to talk about. They undermine your internal motivation. I think about when I was in college, I'm thinking back to like my undergrad days, there were these couple of classes that I was required to take. One of them I took, and there was a requirement that you participate at least once a day. So I would raise my hand once a day and I would say something, and then I would like check it off in my mind, and then I would kind of like zone out into space, knowing that I'd already done the thing I needed to do and now I was done. And then I had this other class that had these really stimulating discussions that I really wanted to participate in because it was cool and I was learning and I was, turning these ideas around in my head. And I was like that annoying chick in the front with my hand up every 5 seconds because I was like, ooh, I have another thing to say about that. But this other class was like, you got to raise your hand once a day. And so then I'd raise my hand and then I was done. So what it does, but I didn't have, there was like a general participation, like he'd kind of give you if you participated throughout the semester, but there was no like you must participate this many times. There was none of that in this other class that I really enjoyed. And I kind of forgot all about that reward. That may have gotten my hand up in the beginning, but it's not why I kept participating. So this is where it gets a little gray. And one of the other benefits of rewards is that it actually can drive internal motivation, but you have to be really careful. There's only like a select few ways to do that. So I'll give you another example. My husband is a runner. He's training for a marathon. And he'll get in these he'll get up and he'll go for a run every single morning. And then he got sick. I think he had a cough and he hadn't run for a couple weeks, and his tendency was just to not get out of bed at 4:45, which is literally when he gets up in the morning. Like, oh my gosh, I could never. But he gets up at 4:45 because, number one, because he likes to run and he feels better when he ran for the day. But he couldn't get himself back in the routine. So I said, all right, what's going to motivate you? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, what about if you don't run, you have to do 200 push-ups instead? And he was like, I don't want to do that. Okay, I'll do it. And so the next day he got up and he ran and he was like, I'm so tired. Oh, that was so hard. And then the next day, same thing. All week we kept that on the table. And then after that, he kept running because he got back in it. His energy was up. He was feeling good. He was back in his flow. So it kind of like got him over the hump. And then after that, like we kind of forgot about it. And then one day he didn't run. I was like, you owe me 200 push-ups. And he's like, that wasn't the deal this week. So that actually really did work for him. So I know punishment and reward, they're different, but it's all really about motivation. And our ideal is to get into internal motivation. So you want to get to the place where you are doing it because you love to do it, because it feels good, because it makes your heart beat, because it makes you like who you are when you look in the mirror. That's why you want to do stuff. So the question you want to ask before you reward somebody is, why do I want them to do that? Is it so that I look good? Is it so that, I feel like they're compliant? Is it so that, and I mean, of course you parents are like, it's because you want your kid to be happy. I know that. That's obvious. But you got to really check in with yourself. Like, why do I want her to succeed so bad? What if she didn't do it? What if she didn't get the skill? I mean, really, some of the failures and disappointments are our absolute biggest teachers, and you don't want to deprive somebody of an opportunity. I know this sounds hokey, but you don't want to deprive somebody of an opportunity to hit a wall and learn something. So don't be afraid of letting your kid fail a little bit, letting your kid like climb a rocky road to somewhere that'll stick, that they'll be confident, rather than just, do your skill at the meet for an iPad. You got the iPad, you did the skill, you never do the skill again. It's a very different outcome. So let's talk a little bit about flow. I know I talk about flow a lot, but flow is basically this experience of ultimate internal motivation. You're doing something because it feels good, because you want to learn, because it's a challenge that is exciting. It's a new height that you're reaching for. This is what we want to be giving our athletes, is more opportunities to be challenged. What we don't want to be doing is controlling them. So the way not to reward somebody is in a controlling way. Like, if you do what I want you to do, I'll give you something. And that's tough because a lot of coaching can kind of come off that way. So for you coaches, do you want your kids to just comply? Which maybe the answer is yes. Or do you want them to be engaged and motivated and active and excited? Because you can have one or the other. Like, you can create compliant athletes by punishment and reward. But you're not going to get the type of team that is on fire and excited and feeling great and really that wants to keep learning and growing. You're going to get the kids that are, well, I have to do this, otherwise I'll have to do that. I have to do this or I won't get that. Instead, they'll go, I want to try this. I can't wait till I get to that part of the assignment where I get to work on this. That's the type of passion that we want to open up in our kids. Not just this, I got to do it or I'm not going to get ice cream. And then for mom, here's how to do the rewards in the right way. Coaches, you guys can listen to this too, obviously. Positive feedback. But not controlling positive feedback. Not like, whew, good thing you did that or you would have been in trouble. There's a very different way to give feedback in a positive way that's controlling versus encouraging. And it's a fine line. So you want to make sure that the feedback is not based only on a task or outcome. And it's not because, you say, all right, everyone who does this gets a high five. You did it, high five. Like, that doesn't count. That actually decreases internal motivation. Versus people, you're kind of encouraging them to learn and grow and stretch and try and work, and you're praising their effort all along with these little things like, hey, you just worked so hard at practice. I know you didn't catch your skill, you didn't get your new skill, but let's go get ice cream. I'm so proud of you. Those are the moments that improve your kids' ability to feel good about themselves and their desire to keep training. If you just surprise them with a, hey, good effort, let's go do something special, or, hey, you didn't win, but I'm really proud of you. Let's go do something. Those sorts of things in the long term will work much better than if you score a goal, you get ice cream. So I was the soccer player, side note. My mom was always like, you get ice cream if you score a goal. I was a defender. I was a terrible forward. I don't think I scored a single goal my entire soccer career. Of course, I was not anywhere I was a gymnast. My mom said pick one at 9. But anyway, my brother was always scoring goals. So he got to get ice cream all the time. And then here I was not getting ice cream. So that totally backfired. So here's kind of my overview on what to do and what not to do as far as rewards. No controlling. No encouraging compliance. No, if you give them this is a guideline, this is what you have to do, then they're not going to want to go above and beyond. So don't do that. But what you should do is give positive feedback that has no pressure. I know this is hard. That's not evaluating. It supports their choice. You encourage them to make choices, and then you let them know that you're proud of them for making that choice. And one thing I do with a lot of my fear clients is I actually make it a game. So they set all the requirements, they make the rules, they decide what all the rules are going to be, and then they hold themselves accountable. And there's a couple certain rules that I give them that help keep them moving out of their comfort zone. But it's like, it's fun. And I've noticed when I changed literally the words of the activity to game, people started getting better results because they were like, ooh, I want to win the game, even though they were doing the exact same thing. So sometimes just making it a game, like, hey, maybe you could hold your handstand a little bit longer than last time, but it's got to be the athlete's choice. That's what you want to really encourage. And what we want to discourage is this all or nothing thinking, where you either get the reward and you succeed, or you don't get the reward and you fail. Because this is the main cause of mental blocks and fear, as I've noticed, is that you feel like you're failing in every successive progression until you get to your success, and then you succeed. But most people are not perfect, nor do we ever attain perfection. And if you're working through something scary that you're like, I should be there already, and every day or every second that I'm not there, I feel like a failure. That's what rewarding is doing. It's saying you fail or you succeed. And we have to encourage that gray area. I talk a lot about this in my fear course. You have to get comfortable being halfway there because you took a baby step forward today. You took a baby step forward this week. You have to celebrate that. You have to be super excited about it. And parents, surprise them with like a pat on the back or a high five or some ice cream, just because that's going to have a lot more effect at praising their effort than relying on their outcomes. It might be motivational, but it's not the best long-term strategy. Okay, now another question from a member of the Perform Happy community. We're moving and switching gyms. I'm worried about my daughter losing the progress she's made with her new coaches. We weren't expecting to move. Do we tell them of her past issues? Should we just let them evaluate her and go from there? Okay, so good thing that you're in the Perform Happy community. So you can get more information and report back to me. And that's a lot of the benefit of this, is that you can reach out to me at any time. So it looks like we don't have enough information. I would say at this point, there isn't really a blanket answer, because there is a benefit to having a clean slate that you can go in and, you know what, maybe she's not going to be scared. Maybe she's got enough information. She knows exactly how to listen to her brain and fill her heart. She knows what to do so that she can take care of herself. She might not need her coaches to be so actively involved, since you have done a lot of work and she's seen a lot of good progress on her blocks. But let's say that she's there and she's starting to have trouble and the coaches are not being understanding, then absolutely that's when you go in and you have good communication. And check in with me along the whole process and let me know, what does it seem like? What is the vibe? What is the energy among the coaches? Is it very punitive? Is it very loving and kind? That'll make a big difference, because, if it is a very punitive environment, you might not want to lead with, my kid's got issues. And then the coaches are like, oh, great, this kid's got issues. Unfortunately, most people don't understand, and that's okay. We can teach them. You guys did it at your last gym. You can do it again. And hopefully this foundation of confidence that she's been building with us is going to pay off and make it so that it's not such a difficult transition. But Mom, I would say, when you're in doubt, get more information. And then communication is my favorite thing when it becomes obvious that that's the next step. Hope that answers your question. And one more reminder, you guys, the doors are open temporarily to the Perform Happy community. I'm taking 30 members. I forgot to mention, the first 10 get a free one-on-one session with me. So you typically, if you sign up as an elite member, you sign up for the year and you get a session. But if you sign up for a standard membership, you get a free session too if you're one of the first 10 to sign up. And if you sign up elite, you get 2 sessions with me. So you can go to performhappy.com, check that out. If you have any questions, reach out to me. And I always give priority to my members to ask me questions here every week. But you guys can reach out to me at Rebecca@performhappy.com, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you soon.